you?
I'm so glad you're on Beth Eli.
I am so
I love crushing
thrilled.
on handsome men.
Well, you know, I've had a crush on you for a couple of days.
Yeah, a couple of days here.
Couple
like
minutes.
Forever.
Like, we just said it, but we're not saying it again.
Like when in another life we're getting married.
Or we were already, and we'll get
yeah.
remarried.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. It would take all day for you to list all of your
It would.
accomplishments.
Like today and tomorrow,
Like today and
the next
tomorrow, I
day.
have to start a whole new website.
Yeah.
But tell everybody, you basically went to New York and you were president of Ford.
Ford for 19 years and managed 36 of the biggest girls in the world in the business, from Naomi to all of those girls. And loved it. I mean, Eileen Ford just sort of adopted me.
Yeah, you
and
were really close to her.
Very. She was my other mother, and everything she ever wrote to me, she signed Love Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a very smart thing to do. It's about, I don't know, 3 years in, the Chronicle did a profile on me, and one of the questions was, I mean, you were so young when you started this business. I said, okay, and first of all, I was so young and so stupid that I didn't know you could fail. I just thought you just did it and it worked.
Right.
And that was my attitude every single day, so we never did fail. So, and they were like, are you kidding?
The beauty of youth.
The beauty of youth, you know, blind and naive and stupid. And so it just worked. But one of the reasons it worked was right away I got very lucky again, because I met this girl named Karen Wilcox, and she was like 17 years old and the perfect model. I mean, absolutely perfect. So I put together a group of about 10, 12 girls and like 4 or 5 or 6 boys, all brand new models, gathered up pictures, put them in a book, and flew to Milan, Paris, London, New York.
Wow.
And I would just go in. I remembered some of the names of the best agencies. So I would just show up with my little book and my little business card, and there'd be like, do you have an appointment? And I'd say, no, but they're like, well, we don't see models on, and I'd say, I'm not a model, I'm an agent. And these receptionists would be like,
because you're so young.
what? So I'd be like, here's my card, and here's my portfolio of my models that I represent, and I'm here to place them. And within 5 minutes, the owner of the agency would come out and say, come here, would you like coffee, champagne?
Really?
Can I take you to lunch? Your models are amazing. Well, this first girl, they were all placed.
You
I mean,
had an eye
every
from the
single agency I walked in wanted every single model in my book.
So you knew how to pick out a model.
I did,
I
mean, somehow. And it was probably from sitting at castings as a model, sizing everybody
Yeah,
up.
and who's getting picked and who isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's really funny because the first girl that left for Europe was Karen Wilcox, and she arrived in Milan, and her first booking was the cover of Italian Vogue. And she was so great that the photographer, he was just going to shoot a beauty story on her, and he sent everybody else home, shot all the fashion on her, shot the beauty, did the cover, and in 1 minute she was a mega star, and everyone was on my doorstep. I never bought another plane ticket.
Wow.
Not once, because
came
the
to you.
world came right to my doorstep.
Wow.
Every top agent from every market on the planet.
Unbelievable.
I'm talking Japan, Australia, literally everywhere.
That's amazing.
And so it sort of made my name, you know? And so then it kicked up another notch where all the New York agencies were trying to recruit me. They're like, you should not be in Texas. And Eileen used to say it to me every year when she would come. And so finally I did. She was younger than me and had not even been in the business. At least I had a few years experience. And she was smacking some food in her mouth, and she was sitting across from me, and she said, can I tell you something? Can I just tell you something? And God said to me, this is your moment. And I stood up, and I leaned all the way across that table, and I said, can you tell me something? Can you tell me something? You can't tell me, and I used every bad word I'd ever heard. Everyone was hanging up their phones. They're like, get the popcorn. Texas is coming out. Here it comes.
Baytown is in the
Baytown
house.
is up in here. It's really true. And so, I mean, that was it. And from that moment on, everyone was like,
Yes, Mr.
oh,
Hamil.
okay, mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a turning point right in the door one day. I'm traveling, and this agent says, oh, I just saw this girl in St. Louis. Here are some pictures of her if you're maybe, and I was like, I'm on the next plane. That girl is Carly Kloss, the world's biggest model, and I went out there, I got her, I brought her back to New York, and I made her. And Coco Rocha, and all these stars, all the stars of right now they're the last group of girls I started.
Wow.
But as it was going on, I just sort of thought, I've done this.
Yeah, wait, I've been to this rodeo
Oh,
before. Yeah, you're ready to.
I've done this, and I'm not challenged, and I'm bored, and I am slightly above average intelligence, so I have to be.
Yeah.
You have to keep me moving.
Stimulating.
Yeah, because if being bored is not good for me, and.
Plus, you like living here too, don't you?
Yes, and I've never ever cut the cord
No,
with
I know,
Houston.
because I've known you for years.
I
and It's
know.
like, oh, Neal's back. Oh, no, he's
Well,
in
I
here.
popped
No,
in
he's
and
back.
out and popped in and out and popped
Yeah.
in and out, and when my parents were both ill, I bought a house here, and I was flying here every other weekend for several years.
Yeah.
And so, you know, after they both passed, and I was sort of like, all right, you know, maybe I can now get on a plane and go somewhere else for a weekend.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that.
Yeah.
So it's really just so funny. And Jacob is I mean, I just ran into him in a Starbucks.
That's crazy. Isn't that the way?
On the
life
corner
is, though?
of West Gray and Shepherd, and he's like, I can't believe I'm running into you. I just had a 3-hour
crazy.
conversation about you yesterday with my investors.
That's
Can I
crazy.
take you to lunch tomorrow? And I said, well, sure, Jacob. And for 2 hours he spoke. I did not say one word. I don't think he even inhaled or exhaled. And he laid his plan, his business model, how it works out. And I said, well, that is about the most fascinating thing. And real estate's in my blood.
Yeah.
And let's do it. So it's been fun.
So, what are your hobbies? Do you have any downtime? And if you do,
I'm the biggest
what are your hobbies?
geek. I geek out.
You do?
I get on the Science Channel and the History Channel,
Really?
and I want to learn. Again, I have to be learning. And so sometimes I'll pick a random topic and read everything written about it,
Really?
and just pull all the layers of the onion open and just know everything there is to know about one thing, and it can be something completely off the wall.
What's your latest thing that you had to know everything about?
I have spent the last 10 years really researching the UFO extraterrestrial situation.
Like the Roswell incident, or just like?
Oh, way more than that.
Wow.
I've talked to astronauts.
Wow.
We are not alone. I never thought we were alone. My uncle ran mission astronaut program and everything, and I don't really remember how I stumbled into the alien question and the UFO question, but I'm telling you, I have read, I spent 10 years, and I'm not an expert, but I am completely satisfied that it is as real as you and me sitting here.
Yeah, well, who are we to say it's not real?
You know, exactly, and you know, some friends say, well, how can you believe in that? You know, how does that square with, you know, your faith and you know, your belief in God? Whatever you want to
Thanks.
call it,
Yeah.
you know. And I lived in a very, very, very active house that scared me a lot. At the end, the energy shifted and it became a very scary place, and I ran. But
Well, getting to that, do you have any irrational fears?
I'm really, really terrified of heights. This is the really creepy part. So, Claudia Schiffer had bought a new apartment in Paris, and it was in a neighborhood that I wasn't familiar with, because I know Paris very, very
The
well.
famous model Claudia Schiffer.
And so I was on my way to her apartment for the first time, on a street in Paris I'd never been down. And I know central Paris really well. And I'm walking, thinking, am I on time? What street do I turn there? And all of a sudden, this feeling came over me, and I stopped,
Oh, no.
and I looked up, And this was my first thought, that's the building I was shoved out of. It just came
So
to me
you
like,
already knew, the psychic had already said that, so you're in Paris.
and it just, the minute, it just can't hit me.
That's
That's the
creepy.
building, that's the window. So I crossed the street and looked back at the building, and I just kept saying to myself, that's the window.
So you were French in a previous life.
Apparently not very popular.
How
I
do you
pissed
say
somebody
piss
off.
someone off in French?
Merde. Mon Dieu. So, and then I was like, well, that's now starting to sort of connect some dots, but
Ugh.
you know, I don't think that the psychic world is for me. I think it's murky and dark and a little scary, and I am a little afraid of psychics. I don't,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, no,
No.
no.
But that was so interesting, and the pain that I have in my legs whenever I'm afraid of how high up I am is it's very, very real.
And that doesn't happen.
Let me out of a window right now. But, and I know that. Yeah, I love doing laundry and grocery shopping. They're my two favorite things. I could
Really?
spend an entire day in a grocery
Doing
store.
both of them.
I'll do it for you. I'll do your laundry and your grocery shopping.
Awesome. It's a
You
deal.
keep writing checks to the ASPCA and Pet Set and Bark, and I'll do your laundry and grocery shopping.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's a deal.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a wrap.
Mwah.
Love you, baby.
Love you. You're so.